Hello, folks. This is old Bubba, the Jewish Redneck Prepper. Thank you for joining us today. And we're over here at what used to be known as Augusta College. It's the University of Georgia now. And this is part of the campus, which used to be known as the Augusta Arsenal. And it's part of the Georgia Civil War Heritage Trail. And very historical marker. And during this day, back when it's up and running, wasn't part of the Augusta College, all this building was plus the Augusta Arsenal. And here we got a little marker and plaque. This old building, General Sherman, and a famous general of the Civil War, was here as a lieutenant. I'll give you some parts. The old arsenal. All this around here. Walk on outside of here. We'll try to walk in, try to catch you some other parts of it. But this is very historical. Look at the old bars here. It was almost looked like it was part of an old fort or something. Let's see, we can get in here and show you part of the arsenal. We got just some plaques showing you part of the university. Used to be a plaque up there. We'll go in here and show you through this old iron rock gate and show you what the inside of the old arsenal used to look like. It still retains some of the old buildings from the day it was an arsenal. Fanning Hall was originally part of this old arsenal here. And folks, this dates back. Wayne Hall was part of it. All of this dates back to the time this was like a fort. This looks like this. See this? All these old buildings. It's long before this was part of the University of Augusta College, and now the university here. But old sundial here in the middle of this old fort called the, and here we go. We got this little thing giving us a little history. It says, named by the college for Arsenal Commandant Alexander C.W. Fanning from 1827 to 1830. This building was one of the original arsenal structures constructed at the location, though dominantly used as barracks for enlisted men. It was also used as bachelor's office, a mess hall, and a hospital clinic at various times. It served the university as administrative business office. And goes on, says, cast from New Orleans church bells, the light 12-pounder that weighs projectile cannon is known as a Napoleon. This type of smooth was the most preferred artillery piece of both the North and South during the Civil War. Two of the Napoleons on campus were cast by Leeds and Company in 1862. And we'll walk over there and get a small brief of that cannon. It says, post-Civil War Arsenal Commandant Daniel E. W. Flagler, who served from 1866 to 1871, designed a new arsenal sundial, which was then fabricated on site in 1807 when its location became too shady. The timepiece was moved to the quadrants in 1934. When the arsenal closed in 1955, the Army gave it to the city of Augusta, who donated it to Fort Gordon. In 1957, the Richmond County Historical Society presented this replica of the original to the college. And there's the design. You can see the quadrangular wall with its intact windows, loopholes, firing ports was built as part of the original arsenal, which connected to all four buildings to provide A protective enclosure, the building inside the quadrants was constructed during the Civil War by the Confederates over the years. It served the arsenal as a storage building, coal house, stable, and library. The university has also used it for various purposes. So you can see the outlook at it, the four walls, the hall, which was originally a hospital and such, and the pain hall over here. You could tell and see that this was like, it was an arsenal to keep ammo and stuff for when it was the Union had control of it. And this was when the Confederates took it over. It was used, like I said, barricades, a fort. And you can go along through here on the outer wall and see that it's I'm going to give you a close-up of this Napoleon cannon. Here, this old fort. Give you another background of the Augusta Arsenal. Now, I've been here all my years, and this is the first time I've been here to this old fort here in Augusta. Now, Augusta's got other forts from the time when Oglethorpe. The fort no longer exists, but the location is in Augusta downtown. From the time period of Oglethorpe when Augusta was established, there's a state marker down there. It shows you the original location of Augusta's fort, military fort, during James Oglethorpe's time. But as you can look over there and you see the bars, and look through the squares, you can see fire positions here. We'll take you up here and let you look at some of the old gate right there, old building. We'll take you on the outside. See some more bar walls, and you can see some portholes where they're firing rifles. Soldiers could fire at oncoming enemy troops and such. You can see the portholes here, lined up all the way down through here. And folks, I just imagine where all we come from during this time. Give you an outline of this old fort here. And going out, you can see there's another part of the old fort down here. Another original building to the garrison that used to be here, the armory. And since it's been, like I said, from the time of the college, it's been used for many things over the years. And see, there's new additions added to it, but you could tell what the old fort was and such. And go down through here, how the walls were connected originally to this old office and such. And this hall is named after one of the original. Gives you directions. You can see the gun ports from out here. One of the main gates you used to go through here. Commandant house. Now, I don't remember at the start of this video or not, but William Sherman, one that many Southerners today still hate, that marched through Georgia and burned down Georgia, was originally a lieutenant assigned to this old fort here when he was in his younger days. And go through this wall here, still see gun points in old places where windows and places are. Another entrance into the old military fort. Probably an old guardhouse there in that corner and such. I'm sure they had horse barns, and there's more to it, but like over the decades, past century, they done tore down a lot of buildings and stuff that used to be here. And finishing up here, look at that old tree. There's no telling how old that old tree is. I'm gonna go down here to this placard here and see what it says. And this is a little brief history on the Augusta Arsenal. And it says on January 24th, 1861, 5 days after Georgia's secession from the Union, Governor Joseph E. Brown accepted the surrender of the United States Arsenal at Augusta for Captain Arnold Elzey. Brown, he ejected Elzey's request that his troops be allowed to take their arms. They having brought none with them. Thus, Georgia acquired 27,000 muskets, rifles, 2 cannons, and 2 12-pound howitzer. The Augusta Chronicle reported departing Federals fired a national salute of 33 guns, lowered the stars and stripes from the flagstaff, and formally gave up the position. The independent flag of the Republic of Georgia was hoisted in its stead. And the affair was over as 82 Federal troops marched out. A detachment of 600 men, Augusta Independent Battalion volunteer militia, took command. The Augusta Arsenal would play a major role in supplying the Confederacy, become the Lower South's arsenal most responsible for the production and repair of field artillery during the war. By mid-1861, Confederate Chief of Ordnance Josiah Gorgas began making the Augusta site a great arsenal of construction where ammunition, field, and siege artillery, projectiles, and ordnance stores in general would be made in large quantities. The 1st Confederate Commandant, Captain W.G. Gill, oversaw construction of massive brick building on the eastern boundary of the arsenal. It housed a blacksmith shop, tin shop, and the harness and equipment department of the field artillery. By the end of the war, a portion of it also served as a hospital. The construction of many other new buildings occurred under Lieutenant Colonel George Washington Raines, took command in April 1862. Raines' employed included a chemist, a master, armorer, and many artisans. The significance of the work in the arsenal made the male workers draft exempt. However, they did form a home defense unit to protect the facility in the case of attack. Other workers included blacks, women, even children who made cartridges in the bags to carry them. From 1863 to 1865, the arsenal manufactured large quantities of war material, from 73,520 horseshoes to 4,622,000 lead balls, from 10,575 powder boxes to 10,760,000 cartridges for small arms, from 2,445 saddles to 1 million percussion caps. Field artillery and equipment for both infantry and cavalry poured from the Augusta Arsenal to Confederate soldiers on battlefields throughout the South, particularly those defending Georgia. Union Major General William T. Sherman's army threatened Augusta during its march to the sea. In late November 1864, preparations were made to move bunch equipment to safety until the Federal Army turned toward Savannah. The war ended for Augusta on May 3, 1865, when Federal troops entered the city. Captain W.H. Warren, acting for Colonel Raines, surrendered the arsenal to Union Major General Emory Jr. Once again, the Stars and Stripes flew over the United States Arsenal in Augusta. So originally, this old fort belonged to the United States government. And here we get a picture of the flag of the Republic of Georgia. And then William H.T. Walker, participant in January 24, 1861 seizure, later became a Confederate Major General. He was killed during the July 1864 Battle of Atlanta, buried in his family cemetery at the Augusta Arsenal. So we passed by that secret cemetery coming in here. But here is like a map here in the corner showing you where everything is. And there's the cemetery where that Confederate general is buried. There's the old arsenal, the fort, or fortification. And it says gives you an outline. Enlisted barracks was the fanning hall. Wall and enclosure officers' quarters was the Rains Hall. Storehouse was the Payne Hall. Armors and blacksmith shop, gun shed, carpentry, married enlisted rooms, coal storage, wells, cisterns underground. And it goes on to Flagstaff, bakery, stable, shed, gun shed, office, storehouse, and no chimney ware and storehouse. So that's a part of the old arsenal that no longer exists. So, folks, this is the Augusta Arsenal here, and what I still like to refer to as Augusta College. And if you enjoyed this video, how about hit the like button and leave a comment. There's many more videos coming this way. You could consider like this, even though it's still here today, it's on the campus. In a way, it's like a ghost town, because you go back to the day when a lot of this stuff didn't even exist out here. That was a fort, folks. And most of the old forts are nothing but old military ghost towns that's no longer. And the memories of those are now deceased. Well, folks, this is old Bubba, the Jewish Redneck Prepper. Hoping that you like this little video. Until the next time, this is Bubba saying God bless, enjoy the journey, and shalom.